Okay, everyone. I know I'm a little late getting this one out for week 3, but the wonderful news is that we've been very busy at the library. And it has been quite a task to stay on top of programming and patrons coming in. And that is very good news for us. So let's start AI Learning Circle week 3, leveling up our skills. Okay. So one of the things that we've kind of come across is like how much are people really using AI? Right now, there's a big old backlash against AI, and I get it. I do. Um, but that doesn't change the fact that a lot of us are still managing to incorporate it into our learning routines. Even if we don't use it at work or we don't use it at home, we're still trying to figure it out so we don't fall behind. So you'll notice on this chart, taken from the Gallup poll in January 2026, 2 years ago, we had about 20% of people like attempting to use it at least a few times a year. And now we're up to 46%. And that is a big change in only 2.5 years. Huge. So it is being incorporated and adopted very rapidly. You also notice that those daily AI users, I mean, that shot up to, what is that? 4% up to 12%. What is that? 3% increase? So um, AI, we're trying to learn. For better or for worse, we're trying. So another question that seems to be coming up somewhat frequently is what would you even use it for? And I ask a couple of people this, like, what do you even use it for? I mean, we can't use it so well, we could use it. We used it for like brainstorming at the library and we use it for helping generate some marketing materials. But other than that, I mean, AI doesn't interact with our patrons. It doesn't talk to them about books and, talk about what we thought of it. But this right now just kind of seems to be the biggest question. It's like, what do I even use it for? So to consolidate information or data seems to be number one. I'm solidly in number two to generate new ideas, learn new things. I am learning AI. Does that count? Automating basic tasks. I don't use it for that. Um, to interact or transact with customers. No. Collaborate with coworkers. Haven't used it for that yet. I'm really interested in the one who's using it to make predictions. I'm not quite sure what they're using it to make predictions for. I'd be really curious about that. Is it like market conditions or the future of a company or an industry? Maybe I should try that one. Always getting new ideas from other people. All right, so this is Ethan Mollick. He's an associate professor of innovation and entrepreneurship at Wharton at the University of Pennsylvania. So you've heard me refer to him a couple times in the past couple weeks. So now here's his face. He's an expert in AI, and he made 4 rules of how to integrate AI into your work and your life. He and his team were kind of the ones who came up with that jagged frontier of AI, which is that weird boundary between what AI can and can't do, even on similar difficulty tasks. So it's kind of unreliable in that way. So you're never quite sure when it's going to be helpful and when it's actually going to slow you down and hold you back. So what he said 3 years ago, and I'm sure it's still true now, always invite AI to the table. So you don't know what AI is good or bad at inside of your industry because right now nobody knows. We're all trying to figure it out. So the only way to figure it out is just disciplined experimentation. Just use it a lot for everything you possibly can, if you have permission to use it inside your workspace. We do not use it here inside the library, but I practice at home on my personal computer. So because I don't want to be caught off guard. I told you, I think in the first week that working here has unlocked a new fear in me where I fall behind in technology. And I'm computer literate, but what if I become AI literate? So I do try to stay up on some of the current stuff. Okay, so number 2 was be the human in the loop, he said, because AI is better than a lot of people in a lot of jobs, but not at that whole job. And so whatever you're best at in your job, he said, you're probably better than AI. So, I mean, even if you can get 75% of the work done, 50% of the work done, and you just have to add in the details and final check it. It's a time saver. AI is not intelligent, but if it can save you time and make you more efficient, it might be worth learning. Number 3, treat AI like a human because AI models are trained on human language and they're refined on human language. And And Ethan Mollick says it turns out that they respond best to human speech. That's what they know. It's a language processing software. So telling it and giving it tasks like a person is the best way to get where you need to go. But tell it what kind of human you want it to be, because AI models need context to operate. Um, we talked about this kind of in the first week when we assigned it a role to give it a point of view, a perspective to come at your request. Um, so you could say like you're an expert marketing manager, um, focusing on technology ventures in the US. And that puts it in a different headspace than saying you're just a marketer. You give it more details, more context. You can get from point A to point B just a little bit faster. And then number four is assume this is the worst AI you will ever use. Because even though it's been around since, well, 2022, 2023, it's still in the super early days of AI. So there's a lot of stuff still being built. Um, and there's lots of room to grow and develop. And right now is just this constant adapting and adjusting right now. You can never feel like you truly understand it because they change everything every couple months, it feels like. Okay, so getting where you want to go. Here's where we did some in-class exercises just to think about, because it's great when you can put in a prompt and the output just has to fall within a wide general range to be considered a success. It ticked boxes A, B, and C. Done. All that mattered. So what's harder was when the output needed to be a bit more specific and you needed to figure out how to get there. So like reverse engineering a prompt is kind of what we would say we worked on. So what do I need to tell the chatbot to get it close to required output or something very similar? If something has to be an exact copy and paste is your best friend. We already know how to do that. Um, so we did exercises where you kind of had to put on your thinking cap and um, try to figure out point A to point B. And it's kind of tough. You're never going to get the exact outcome. But these are five things you need to think about when you need to reverse engineer a prompt. What type of thing is this? What's the file and format type? Excel, Word document, email, image, HTML, PowerPoint, chart, form, PDF, JPEG, PNG. I mean, there's just a number of things it could be. So make it clear. What are the sections or the parts, the skeleton or the outline of your project? So you kind of want to help AI break it down into the basic parts, for example, headers, main, body, summary, footer, and then tell it what each section is for. The main body presents the past, present, and future of AI, like just for example. Um, if it's an image, what's the focal point? What's supporting that focal point? What's in the background? You really do have to put on your detective hat and think about it. What rules does it follow? Like colors, formulas, patterns. If you're color coding it, does red mean urgent? Does green mean completed? Calculations, formulas like add up, all of column A. Or if you're working in an image, what's the color palette or the vibe like? Think about your font size, logo, brand colors that have to be included. And then think about also what's missing, which is kind of hard, especially if it's your first time doing it or if you're not familiar with something. If you're familiar with how AI kind of works and you're familiar with your completed project, this number four might be a little bit more obvious. But I think number four is also something that you would put into your revisions as well as you see what ChatGTP or Claude or one of the other bots turns out first. For example, if you've come to my learning circle, I don't hate emojis. I just think that they have their place. And that's in my text to my family and my friends, and that's about it. If I'm working on work stuff or Excel or whatever, they don't have a place there. So if I was doing number four, I'd say leave out the emojis. Don't put it in there. I might say leave out corporate jargon. Um, I might say, what else would I say to leave out? Gosh, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. We'll move on. Oh, sometimes in Excel it wants to put in like sample data. And you're like, no, just give me the template. Leave out the sample data. I can figure it out on my own. But you never really know if it's going to spit that out until it makes its first generation, and then you can reprompt it to leave it out. And then number five, how close does it need to be to the original? If it has to be extremely detailed, you're going to have a super long prompt. And sometimes that's okay, depends on what you're working on. But you kind of have to decide what's good enough because you can tinker with it forever. Um, and like I said, if you need to make an exact copy of an original file, copy, paste, and edit it yourself. That is not where AI is going to shine, I don't think. I could be wrong. Okay, so before you start experimenting, just as kind of like our little basic prompt template here, um, and you know as you've gone through and kind of researched it yourself, there's lots of different ones. This is just kind of a good basic one. Don't worry about it. If you find a different one you like better, use that one. So give it a roll. I mean, it technically is in quotation marks because it's considered optional, but you'll notice like more advanced prompts use it all the time. What's the task? What job do you want it to do? What's the context? What information does it need to know the job? Details, tone, style, any constraints or boundaries, and output. How do you want it formatted? It's just kind of keep these in mind. Okay, exercise one. I'm going to tell you now that the prompt is going to be just as long as the exercise. It's just practice, and we're just trying to keep it very simple. So if you want to give it a go, pause the video here until you're ready to proceed. Okay? I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, so here are the 5 elements that I'm going to consider when I'm making my reverse prompt. And when I did it, the output was actually the easiest one to figure out. You don't have to do them in order. It's an email. It's an email with subject line. The details, it's friendly, it's informal or casual, it's definitely not like a professional formal format. That was kind of easy. There's an emoji involved, clearly not formal. The content. So this is the body of the email. The who, what, when, where, why, how parts of it. And sometimes if you tell it to be friendly and casual, it might actually do the emoji part on its own, unless I've given it specific instructions. And we actually talk about that in week 4 to not put emojis in. It might actually generate that itself. Um, so lunch is this Friday at noon at the Olive Garden on Main Street. Ask people to tell me if they can't make it by Wednesday. Add a happy face emoji. You know, um, if it was this a email that was this small, I wouldn't use AI. But like I said, it's just a sample, a practice. The task really is reminding the team of lunch, and I didn't assign it a persona. I mean, it was so simple. I didn't need it for it to be like an expert email or whatever. So the prompts remind everyone of upcoming team lunch. Lunch is this Friday at noon at Olive Garden on Main Street. Ask people to tell me if they can't make it by Wednesday. Make it friendly and informal and add a happy face emoji at the end. Format as an email with the subject line. Or if you may, it doesn't have to be like that. It can be like a shorter blended version. Draft a friendly, informal email with subject line reminding people about team lunch this Friday at noon at Olive Garden on Main Street. Ask anyone who can't make it to let me know by Wednesday. Add a happy emoji at the end. So you can blend it together for shorter. This was just to break it down the parts of it so you could see it. Yeah, but you can combine and blend it, make it shorter on yourself. All right, so here was example number 2. You'll see it's an Excel. So you'll have to tell it to create an Excel document or Excel file. So it's actually, I'll give you a hint, like AI is really good at budget stuff. I mean, unless you had to have it like exactly this way. It actually can churn out a really good monthly budget tracker template with minimal instruction. And then you can go in um, and adjust it to your heart's content there. Like, oh, well, yeah, I kind of have all those, don't I? I don't have a car payment anymore. I could take that out. I could edit it on my own. So when we're thinking about this one, look at our task, our purpose, our sections and our rows, our columns, our coloring. You'll notice there's formulas in here. And those just make sure that, um, well, I guess I don't have to worry about that. Just give it a try. Give it a try. Um, Even if you do have to edit it a little bit, AI is going to do like 90% of the work on this one for you. So it's really great at this job, actually. So if you want to give it a try, pause the video now. And we're moving on. All right. So here's kind of a nice little, like, create a downloadable monthly budget tracker in Excel. Create or include sections for income, fixed expenses, variable expenses, and a summary. And use color coding to distinguish each section. Add columns for planned amount, actual amount, leave the difference in notes. And leave all the money cells blank because I know sometimes it likes to put sample data in there. So that's the exclusion I'm talking about. The inputs need to be blank and use formulas where relevant. And when I actually did this, the formulas were good. Everything worked. It required minimal modification just to make it fit me. It actually turned out pretty good. Good job, AI. You did a good job on this one. Okay, so exercise number 3. So um, I did use Chat GTP for the GPT, whichever. I use chat for it. Because it has that Dolly image AI specialty embedded in Chat GTP. So you could use that one, or you can use another special image generator AI, um, like Claude and DeepSeek. And I haven't really tinkered with a whole bunch of the smaller ones, like um, Le Chat, the one out of France. I haven't tinkered with that one at all. Um, yeah, there's a lot of them right now, all kind of competing. So it's hard to keep your attention. I would become very familiar with at least one. Chat GTP is a good like all-arounder one. Um, right now it's kind of noted for a good starting place. Now I'm not saying that one of the other ones won't catch up. Um, Claude or DeepSeek or God, so many, Gemini, which if you've noticed is now like incorporated into all of Google's stuff. So we're all going to be using AI no matter what anyway, just when we're on the internet. So, but on this exercise number 3, devil's in the details, right? Um, so think about the color of the cat. Is it long-haired? Is it short-haired? Any distinct features? The type of cat it is. You know, it's obviously not one of those naked cats that look like an oversized rat. The window, the rain, the ambiance, the vibe, the feel. The foreground, the background. What's the artistic style? Is it impressionist? Is it cartoon? Is it feel like a photograph? So the image generated won't be an exact match. Like cups and candles, plants may be in a different area or whatever. Um, and keep in mind too that even a word or two or difference in the prompt would make a difference. So give yourself plenty of grace. All right, if you want to give it a try, pause the video right now. And here's the prompt that would kind of get you close to this image. So create a portrait image of a cat, short-haired tabby cat, looking out of the window of a home on a cold, rainy day, surrounded by plants, books, and candles, a feeling of coziness inside the home. And this is a realistic photography image. I know, you kind of have to know a lot to get, like, what kind of image is this, you know? It really does test your own intelligence working with artificial intelligence. I will tell you that. It's not, I don't know how much of a shortcut it is sometimes. Okay, so when we're working with AI, there is always a workaround now that you've done all that. So I'm always looking for a shortcut, kind of on the lazy side. So we're best at finding the shortcuts. Okay, so we're going to give AI its moment. Help me, help you, right? Um, so writing a more complex prompt can be very challenging. But has anyone tried telling AI to write its own prompt? So you can tell whichever bot you're using, act as an expert, Claude, Chat, GTP, whatever, prompt engineer. And then like let it help you write a good prompt. And I have learned one thing that I found has have found very useful. And I'm sure I found it like on a Reddit subreddit about Claude some months ago and I've kept it ever since. Before you begin, and at the end of my prompt, what I'm asking it to do, I add, before you begin, what additional information do you need from me? And so before it turns out its artifact, its output, it'll stop and it'll ask me questions. And some of them are things I never even would have thought of. And I'm like, wow, that was actually rather brilliant of you, Claude. Thank you. Um, And so it asks questions, and I'll answer the questions. And at the end of that, before I hit enter, I say, before you begin, what additional information do you need from me? And we'll go through like just refining the prompt like 2 or 3 times, and that's fine. It's helping me write the prompt to get to where I want to go. And then when it says I have no more questions, I'm like, all right, generate the output. And it gets me from point A to point B a whole lot faster. Think it has to take a lot of tokens to generate that output at the end. So you kind of want to minimize your token use by just kind of refining it a little bit first. AI can help you think through the steps that you didn't know you didn't know. And that's okay too. Fido.com is a free prompt generator. Right now I have it set to Claude, and then it kind of breaks down the prompt I feed it into a format that aligns with Claude's reasoning capabilities, which it pulls directly from Anthropic's prompt engineering best practices. Um, it's a different toy to tinker with, but it's kind of in that same sandbox. And as AIs are being experimented with more, people are sharing prompts they use to create a specific output. When you have several of these in one place, you have a library of prompts. And we actually talk about that in week 4. So, and when you have a library of prompts, you can just copy and paste and edit it to customize it to your personal need and just feed it in. You don't have to really waste a lot of brain power on it. So just keep in mind, you don't need tools like Frito or, well, let's go look at it real quick and you can kind of see it. Let's see. Is it going to open up for me? Yeah. So let's see. Create an Excel worksheet. I'm just going to do something super basic. Excel worksheet for a monthly budget tracker. Oh, back. We're going to keep it super simple. Let's say it's for Claude. Based on Claude's best practices. You know, it's going to be something that's very basic, but I kind of just wanted you to see what it looks like when you did it properly. Oh. So you'll notice that the format is quite different, and that's okay. You can just keep using the simple format that we've been using. But when you go best practices, like if you had to do something more advanced, you can see um, like self-verification. I never would thought to put that in, but that's okay. That's what this is here for. Okay. And prompt libraries. There it goes. Oh, here we go. Let's try personal growth or something. So a personal career, these are just copy paste. These are what people are sharing. Personal career coach, resume bullet point transformer. I mean, there's no point in reinventing the wheel here. Custom habit stack designer. Um, just tinker with them, see how they're written, the formatting. If it was in brackets, you just add in your own personal information. So you customize it. It's just a template that you customize. Okay. So here is just the tinker time. If you wanted to try to just practice your prompts. Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes progress. All right. So this is week 3. Week 4 actually starts in 10 minutes. I just was not able to get this video up and going, but at least it'll be in YouTube, so you can watch it at your own convenience. Um, and then week 4, we'll wrap up our AI learning. And don't forget, if you guys have questions about computers, technology, AI, you can always borrow a librarian. We call it checking out a librarian. And for up to an hour, we can schedule you in and just sit with you and help you computer technology. We always try our best. We don't know everything. There's a ton of like different softwares out there right now. We can't be experts at them all. But we always give it our best shot and we can normally figure it out. All right. So we'll see you for week 4. All right. Bye.